what is your approach, your strategy to your podcast to make it successful?
Yeah. So I actually made a video about this on my channel, my YouTube channel, but it was about how I earned $4,000 in my first week of podcasting. It wasn't truly, that was just like an enticing, title. Cause I tell them in the beginning, I've actually been podcasting for years to do this, for like podcasting. And I've tried a ton of different things. It hasn't been working. And, I met this guy named Josh Tapp, who has a podcast called The Lucky Titan. And I've known this with some people that do this strategy, but it's a totally like legitimate thing. And I feel like so many people don't use it enough. But I tried like cold DMs, I tried Facebook ads. I do get some people to book calls through my YouTube channel as well. But it was kind of inconsistent with it as I'm growing my channel, and I have a YouTube coach and that sort of stuff. But I pretty much was like had this epiphany talking with this guy, Josh, because, we're talking about podcasting and stuff. And he's like, and just business in general. And he was like, have you thought about interviewing your target audience? And I was like, I didn't really think about that, like using my podcast to create conversations that build rapport. Because if I message someone on social media, and even if I'm being cool, being like, hey, what's going on? There's always that game of like, who's going to pitch first. And that's just what I've experienced over years of doing this. Like some random dude who I can look at your profile and see you do business stuff. And like, you're a marketing guy or whatever. And you're trying to like, it's like, what are you trying to get at? Even if I'm just being cool, just like starting a relationship, because I literally tried that. Just being like, I'm just going to get to know you. I'm just like nothing here. But people are just so burned by that because it's become so prevalent. So now I can reach out to people. And I can see someone I like, look at their profile, and I have a bit of a criteria here. Obviously, I want my show to be something that is legit, where people can discover it and be like, this is a really cool show. That's why I like to interview people from getting started, earning their first few sales to earning millions, because you can learn something from all these different people at different points in their business. I like interviewing people in different niches, which is great for me too, because I work with people in different niches as long as they're creative like that. So it's really full circle, but it's always about the audience first. And then there's two other boxes. Number one is when I'm looking at someone to see if they're a good guest, would they potentially be like a good client? It's kind of like online dating, if you're scrolling and stuff and you see someone, you look at their profile and you're like, oh, like I could go on a date with this person. I'd like to get to know them more. I could see something potentially working out here, but you don't really know until you go on a date. So then you try and go on a date. It's kind of the same thing. But the other thing I'm looking for, sometimes I can see people and I can see like they don't really need my help really, but they probably have built up my audience already, or they have a bigger podcast where I can connect with them, build a relationship, and we can collaborate in some way. And it's that law of reciprocity of like, you were on my show, now I can come onto your show. Literally like you and me right now, basically. Yeah, 100%. This is what happened. Yeah. So I like that. Those are the two things I think about on top of like, is it going to be valuable for my audience? And sometimes people check all three boxes. But if someone can check off, like, is it going to be valuable for my audience, the message and the person I'm bringing on? Can I relate it to what my show is about? That's always got to be checked. And then at least one of the other two, are they a potential client or do they have an audience that I can get in front of? That's how I know it's a good client. And then I invite them onto my show. And instead of me DMing people, now we can have a cool conversation. I keep my episodes short for two reasons. One, I think it's nice to listen to that as a podcast, like listener. Because the typical commute is like 20 something minutes. So if you keep them around 20 or 30 minute long episodes, it's roughly someone's commute. And then on top of that, it's short, where it's long enough where I can build rapport with someone, but short enough where it's not going to take all day for me. So I can knock out a crap ton of interviews, which means more conversations with people, which means more opportunity to build a relationship with the actual decision makers instead of, trying to battle with a bot on Facebook or someone else's assistant. I can actually get the real person on the show, get to know them, ask about their business and stuff. And that's kind of how I leverage the podcast.